product, if you will, of rape. So for the next few years, she would take out her anger and her frustrations on this girl. It came so bad that she wanted to kill herself at one point, and she tried, even writing a suicide note. I tell you folks, you cannot make this stuff up. This happened barely 8 years ago. The child is now 7, going on 8, and the wounds are still raw. When you see politicians advocating for demonstrations in the streets of Nairobi and people getting killed and maimed, this is what happens in the end. We don't think about it now, but this is what happens. It happened in Rwanda in 1994. In the space of 100 days, 1 million people were killed. My guest tonight wants to tell her story so that you, especially politicians out there, can know. We're going to use my Twitter handle at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag tonight, overcoming hate, which is what we must do between now and next August if we don't want to lose this country. You may laugh it off, you may think it's impossible. Take it from me. I've been around the block a couple of times, and if you don't believe me, take it from my guest. Elizabeth Atieno is a walking, talking, living testament of how bad things can get. Listen up. Pay attention. Elizabeth, good to see you.
Good to see you, Jeff.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, first of all.
Thank you.
And we're going to introduce your daughter very shortly, because she's here. She's sitting out there.
Yeah.
And we're going to introduce her shortly.
Yeah.
And your husband and the other family members. But for now, let me talk to you and ask you. Let's go back to, it must have been February, well, January, February.
No, actually it was December.
December, there you go.
December 2007, 31st.
On the 31st.
Just the eve of the new year of 2008.
Go on.
Actually, it was during that time, the elections. It happened that there was a certain party that was celebrating. We've won, and normally.
Elizabeth, let's not sugarcoat this thing. We know PNU was celebrating.
Yeah.
ODM was not happy about it.
Yeah.
You can say that. It's okay.
Actually, where I was, ODM were the ones celebrating.
In your neighborhood?
Yeah, because they were in the lead. It was all over the TV. And because normally in the past, they used to cast the ballot was done on 27th. And then it took time, and it was done on 31st.
Yes.
So that day, I was coming from Riverside, going to Kariobangi North to see my stepmom. I was going at my stepmom's place because I was coming from a friend's house.
You were 16 years old.
I was 16, and unfortunately the elections were announced when I was on my way to my stepmom. Then I met before I met with the gang. I was shot at 3 times, and I managed to escape the bullets. One was just like then the other one, 3 of them. But sometimes I normally sit down and wish I was killed.
Were you in Kariobangi North?
Yeah.
This was Kariobangi North?
Yeah, just there's a
so
bridge.
You're walking in the street?
Yeah, there's a
daytime or nighttime?
It was around 4-5.
Okay.
And then after that I met with a gang of
you
men.
saw them coming?
Yeah, no, I was running after the gunshots. I panicked, and I was running, and because of the panic, I didn't know whom I ran into, so I bumped into someone, and when I bumped into that person, Jeff, this is a gang of men who have new weapons. War has begun now. And people have new weapons all of a sudden. It's like we start fighting and then all of a sudden people have new weapons. I'm telling you what I saw. New. I can tell new weapons and old ones. Used and new ones. These were very new weapons. Then one of them greeted me in Kikuyu, and then I couldn't answer back. I was so afraid. I freezed out. And then another one greeted me now in Swahili and then said, "Abaria Black Beauty." And then because I had panicked so much, I thought I greeted them, but unfortunately the words didn't come out of my mouth. So they talked among themselves. I was now surrounded by them. I was in the middle, and I was just I don't know. My soul was just out because I knew what was going to happen is not something good.
Did you know what was going to happen?
No, I just knew that maybe they were going to kill me or let me go, because at that time, Jeff, I didn't even have an ID card.
Okay, so what did they do?
I was one of them. I don't know. I was hit at the back of my head, very hard, very, very hard. And then I remember shouting so hard and passed out. I passed out. Then the following morning,
when you woke up?
When I woke up, I guess it was around 5 to 6. I was taken at the river. There's a river in Kariobangi. There's a river. I was taken there. Then I was lying there and I was naked. I had blood over me and I was in so much pain. And I
were they around you?
No. There was no one. I was alone, and I was in so much pain. And I didn't know what was happening because I was smelling so bad, and I thought maybe I'm dreaming or something. But Jeff, this was reality. This one was reality. This one was real.
What were you? What was the first thing that went through your mind, Elizabeth? Was it, I'm alive, or what's happening to me, or have I died and gone to hell?
When I woke, I thought I was in a dream. Unfortunately, I was not, because after trying to wake up again and again, I couldn't, because I was in so much pain. And that one happens to me even nowadays when I sleep, and in my dream when I encounter danger in my dream, I try to wake up and normally I can't. And when I manage to wake up, I wake up screaming. It happens to me.
Wow. Okay, so none of them, you never saw them again?
No, I never saw them.
Never?
No.
If you saw them today, would you recognize them?
I don't think so.
They're probably watching you right now. Because
I don't know.
No one's ever been convicted from the post-election violence.
No one.
Right?
That one is the saddest thing.
That's the saddest thing. Okay, so a few months later, you realize you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And you decide to keep the baby.
After very few months, it was just in January, I realized I was pregnant, and there was so much pressure from me, from the family, to have an abortion. Because Jeff, you don't tell people that, I don't know the father of my baby.
Not only that, I mean, it was these 20 animals.
And it was just so crazy.
But you decided to keep the baby, Elizabeth.
I ran away from home, and that is how I ended up in Mathare. I ran away from home. I went to Mathare.
Because you decided to keep the baby?
I decided to keep the baby, but I didn't know that that decision was one heavy decision that I had made. It was a heavy decision, Jeff. I didn't know that. It was just about the conscience and the value of the heart. I can't. How do I do this? It's just so crazy. It is, if I have the baby, it is not her fault, it is not my fault. Can anyone understand this? But it was a one heavy decision that I had made.
But every day you would go to sleep thinking, this child is a child of rape that I'm bringing to this
Yeah,
world.
at one point, when I ended up in Madare, now I had to be introduced on how to survive. I started going to Isili, where we call them Kwaoria. People go there, women go there to wash clothes and do house chores, and they're paid.
Yeah.
So I went there. Then in April 2008, I thought, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to have an abortion, because I met now with a lot of women, and if I shared, I'll hear someone talking about abortion, and I'll get very interested. And I said, one day I'm going to do this. I'll just take heart and do this and get done with this once and for all. Now, when I was going to work, I saw people surrounded Asiwa tunnel. Then I went to look there. Then I saw a baby that was aborted.
A fetus.
It was a fetus. This really tore my heart apart, and I just broke down, and I was crying, and when I got to work, I was just crying, and then the boss, the lady who was my boss, she didn't know I was crying. She just told me, go back home and relax, and then come back tomorrow. And then I just told myself, if I do this to what I'm carrying, one day people will be looking at it the way I saw it this morning, and I just made up my mind.
You're going to keep the child?
No, I'm not going to abort. I'm going to keep this baby. I really have to keep her. But I had another plan, because my plan was to keep her, but I would leave her at the hospital.
As soon as you give birth, you walk away and leave her?
Yeah. That one was my plan, because I thought that one was better than an abortion.
Okay, so August 30th rolls around.
Yeah.
You're in the hospital. You give birth.
At 4:30.
A.M., P.M.?
A.M.
Then what?
So after giving birth, because of the labor pains, I fall into a very deep sleep.
You're 16 years old.
I'm 16. I fall into a very deep sleep, Jeff, and at around 8:30, I'm waking up with the baby crying, and then I was told, breastfeed her. Then Jeff, I saw this baby, and she was the most beautiful thing on earth. She was very beautiful. She was very beautiful.
Still is.
And I did breastfeed her. Then when she went back to sleep, I walked out of the bed. Then I tiptoed. Then when I was just about to leave the main door, she started crying, and then I had to go. That cry
drew you back.
It just touched my heart, Jeff, and I just went back. I went back. I couldn't leave her.
You were going to walk away? You were going to walk away?
I couldn't leave her because she was now crying.
Do I have a tissue? Give me a tissue, somebody. Sonia, can you toss the tissue box?
She
toss
was
it, Sonia.
crying.
I'll catch it. Go on.
She was crying, and I went back. And then
and you decided?
I held her in my hands, and there was Brooklyn.
There was who? Brooklyn. Yeah, you called her Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Like Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn. Hold that thought. What a story. What a story. Any regrets?
Jeff, I didn't know that it was the beginning of a very, very tough journey.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But here I am today. Brooklyn is turning 8 this year.
She's turning 8 in August. And you've had a rough time with her. Because for many years, she reminded you of the rape. She reminded you of those animals.
Yeah.
You took out your anger on her.
I did. Jeff, I did. At that time, I was very young. I was just a baby. I was just a baby with a baby, you know. I was just a kid with a baby.
Yeah.
And
what do you see when you look at her now?
Every time I think of Brooklyn, or when I look at her, I just want to bring all.
Yeah.
To just tell her that I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
Where is
sorry,
Brooklyn?
I'm sorry,
Brooklyn, come
I'm
here.
sorry.
Come here. Let's take. Look at it. Oh. Give me some love, baby. Give me some love. Oh, there you go. You don't even know me, and you've given me some love. Sitting right here. Sitting. Oh. Oh, look at you. Look at you. Break out the tissue boxes. It's that kind of show tonight. And if you're a politician or someone who's advocating hate, this is your show. This is what you want Kenya to become. Watch and listen carefully. This happened barely 8 years ago during the post-election violence. Elizabeth Atieno raped by more than 20 animals in the streets of Kariobangi North. And this is the result. And this is the pain that these people go through on a daily basis. I'm not here to preach. I'm just here to let you know it is what it is. I hope you're listening, Mr. Politician. We're going to take a quick short break. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, the hashtag we're using tonight, overcoming hate. And if this show does not help us overcome hate, I don't know what can. I don't know if you all want to get to where Rwanda went in order to figure out where to go. But it need not get there. Right, Brooklyn? Gota. Oh, yeah. Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski takes a break. We'll be back. Plenty more ahead. Back in a moment.